Yeah, yeah. Jacob's schedule died like a while ago. I'm his evil twin. Jacob unscheduled. Oh, there's someone at the door. Yes. Yeah? Escape. Alright, sorry about the disturbance. I'm back. Um, get rid of the starting soon screen. My roommate wanted to borrow my speaker. Alright. We're here. It should be pretty straightforward for the start of the stream. It's just like wrapping up these thumbnails, and then exciting stuff happens when we pick one and further develop it. Oh man, I gotta find a spot for his barbels for this one. It really is. It's like the toughest shape in all of the Tom Kench character design. Is the little mustache, the little barbels. Because I'm like, well, there's so many quite specific shapes that I want to quite specifically take up the space that they're taking up. Yeah, especially that far one. Let's think for a second. These are like the shapes. What's the gesture? The gesture is a C curve and a little seagull. So, but they go under the eye. Maybe if I just commit to it covering more of the teeth. Yeah. Then there's like a space for it. And so the idea is he's been twisting, so this curve to the far mustache is fine. Kind of want the near one to be hooking around as well. And there's my ref document. Had to download from my cloud service first. Now it's now I can look at it. Yeah, that's annoying. Everything else in this thumbnail was kind of working out, but these ones, little mustache shapes. It's just, I really want them to like link up. Did I run out of music? No, it's just like a quiet start. Okay, there it is. Did I manage to get set up on YouTube? Yes, YouTube is going right now. YouTube is streaming. Whoa, sorry about that. What? Should be, at the very least. Yes, YouTube's streaming right now. TikTok is the straggler. TikTok is the one that's not quite there yet, because they have a specific software they want you to use for it. And you can sort of get verified to be able to use Stream Elements, which is the software I'm using to multi-stream. But the standard for TikTok is that you can't do that. The standard is that you need to wait until you get verified. So I've sent an application, but what I should do is I guess get set up with a TikTok Studio until then. Nice. So that's kind of what I wanted. It's like the mustache, the barbels, excuse me, is like one gesture. Cool. And then little rings. He needs little rings on there. I think this is my favorite of the thumbnails right now. It's just all the foreshortening. It's got a lot of foreshortening going on. Therefore, Jacob likes. It's like dynamic in it. Oh, just no tangents, please. Please, sir, no tangents. Anything but the tangents. I really want to get the Stream Elements TikTok application to go through though. Like get it approved, because it would just be so nice to be able to press one button and then be streaming everywhere. Yeah, the more button presses, obviously, the more overhead, the less time I have for drawing. That's why it's bad. That's why things you have to do are bad, because it's less time for drawing. It's the same with like vacuuming, and like the laundry, grocery shopping, cooking. They're bad because you have less time for drawing. So meal prep is good because it gives you more time for drawing. Exercise, ironically, is good because it gives you more time for drawing. In terms of years, if you get like good and exercised and healthed up, you'll be able to draw for more years, is the thinking. So though it might feel like a time sink now, it is a net drawing time gain. Social media is bad because it's less time for drawing, but streaming is kind of fine because it's more time drawing. That's why streaming is like an acceptable use of my time, and like YouTube is like that's crazy talk. Like actual just YouTube videos, won't be doing a lot of those, I think. It's a really strong motivator for me though. Oh, something happened. Took you ages to get YouTube streaming working. Ended up having to unlink everything and start from scratch. You get a bit more reach. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Maybe the solutions are just like better now. I don't know if it was like a recent change for you, but with Stream Elements, which I'm using, it was like a pretty simple thing to set up. Maybe I was just lucky though. Maybe that like I didn't have like a cursed bit of kit. Like I don't know what it would be. Like a too many cookies in my browser, keeping me from well, too few cookies in my browser, I guess, keeping me from setting it up. The stream code was out of date. Ah, I see. I had this weird thing happen for a while where Twitch would randomly remove my stream key. So like, you know, you can go in Twitch and you can like view your stream key to link it up with like say OBS or something. And it just randomly would not launch when I tried. And then I'd go in and I'd look at Twitch and it'd be like, when I clicked show stream key, there would be nothing. And then I figured out that if I reset my password, it comes back, it gives me a new stream key. And then eventually I hooked up mobile two-factor authentication, and when I did that, it stopped happening. You have to do that for YouTube, man. What a hassle. What a hassle. Hassles are bad because they're less time for drawing. They're supposed to just barely be connected because it's like real. That was always, well, a big part of my big frustration with 3D work. And I don't know if maybe you just like become really actually super good at it and then you don't have this problem anymore. But with CG, it'll often seem like the answer is quite simple. And then you'll be like, well, I know what to do. I just gotta input these 3 keys and then do this to my geometry and then the render will work. And in the beginning, it was like, well, then you'd accidentally press a button and that would introduce 1 more hour of work into the workflow. Now it's more sort of a thing of, yeah, maybe this is all cap. Maybe it's just like a question of knowing your software. It feels like a discipline to me, a set of disciplines to me, CG, where there often is like, just like this one thing you gotta know that you're doing wrong before you then can do the, what's an example? Because I realize I'm really talking out of my ass here. I'm really like generalizing for an entire craft. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should shut up. I guess that's the experience I had with 3D a lot. You know what I mean, sick. It's like, oh, I wasn't using the right render engine, or oh, when I do this sort of tweening specifically, my geometry can't be, has to be joined, or it'll be like some some shit like that. This only works with one mesh. Ah, the tutorial didn't mention this, but for this to work, you have to have applied all the locations and transforms to the deltas before you move on. Ah, dang it! I had my gizmo set to normals instead of global XYZ. But then again, all those mistakes, like presumably having software that can pretty much do anything, can be a recipe for disaster until you become proficient with it. Yes. Yeah. And maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just like I never quite reached proficiency. But I just, yeah. I guess that's it. That just seems like that would take a long time. Becoming fully proficient with every aspect of a software that can do pretty much anything. It just seems like this would be a problem that you would keep having for a while. You've been using Maya for 20 years and you still don't know how to use everything. So that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to get at. It feels like, and you must encounter this way less often then as a result. I bet there's still like once in a while though, where it's like, Oh, I had pressed the button that gives my mesh, yeah, and I don't know what it would be after 20 years. You're probably not, like, accidentally doing any constraints anymore, or, like... You're learning Houdini and Blender right now, you get lost constantly. Yeah. It's rough out there in CG land. I guess I just... Also, well, I just care less about 3D than I do about 2D. And maybe that's part of it, is just when you don't care enough about 3D that it's your main thing, the space of time where random issues will still present themselves and like give you several extra hours of work randomly, that space of time becomes longer if it's not your main thing. Which 3D just wasn't gonna be my main thing. I'm so sorry, every stream you're on, Pat, becomes like this rant against 3D. No worries. You get it, you get it. That's the thing as well, every CG artist gets it. But I could be like more creative with the topics. We're so close. We still need to do the... Like, B and A are actually not done yet. They still need like a little light pass, like D has. But we are soon to be done with the thumbnails. Come on. Thank you. I had some sort of like digital artist level up the other day, where like there's a pretty good art supply store right near where I live, and for the longest time, every time I was in Copenhagen, because I'd be in this part of town anyway, I would go to that store and like buy something, pick up a couple of sketchbooks or like some pens or whatever. And I went, oh, you need pants. I went browsing in it the other day, just for my my daily walk, nothing to do. Oh, let's look at the art supply store. And I realized there's nothing I need anymore from an art supply store. I don't need another sketchbook. I have all the pens I would ever need. And I don't really use them up because I mainly just work digital. And then like once in a while, if I need to make like a birthday present for a family member, I'll bust out the pens, right? But I've kind of for now graduated past my my traditional art era. I'm not a man of the pencil anymore. Instead, I am Jacob, wielder of the stylus. I wonder what's I wonder what's worse for the environment. Like stacks and stacks of sketchbooks or like a digital tablet. One is made out of trees. One is just really bad for the air. One is just it's a little bit like the buying an electrical car debate. Where like buying and driving an electrical car is good for the environment, is my impression, if you do it for long enough. But it has to be like 20 years or something, because just the environmental expense of producing the car in the first place is so high. Drawing tablet is not as much as a car, but then again, the alternative is not a car. The alternative is just paper. Somebody must have made those calculations. Left arm has 2 little finger rings. Right arm has 1 pointer finger ring. It's gonna be interesting to see if I can really, I guess I've done that once before. Transition from values into color properly. Definitely my normal workflow is to do like a value thumbnail and then start over on a color thumbnail. But for the Malzahar splash I did, as well as for this one, the plan is to use like color balance and like color infusing tools to create the base colors for this splash. I don't think it's too bad. It's just for a long time I had a lot of like what's it called? Well, just concerns about going from value to color with layer modes, losing a lot of vibrance in the image you can create. But it isn't so bad. Like you just make sure to paint back over that vibrance. You're kind of good. Right. No, I was right. I wanted to say that I was preoccupied by going directly, or I had preoccupations with going directly from value into color. And I was like, is that the right word? It was. Fire, dynamic, fun, fire. On a different layer. That's the one thing we do on different layers is VFX. This is horrible. Oh no, you must know this pain, everyone who's watching right now. When 2D and splash artists generally talk about the illustrated or painted effects in a piece, say fire or water or energy, they across the board call it VFX. This is the term professional splash artists will use to describe painted effects in their pieces. Now, I'm saying effects because that's what I've been taught in the world of CG. We have the distinction between VFX, which is CG for films, CG for film and movies and TV is VFX, while fire, water effects are just effects. But in Splash, it's all the little sprinkles and the fire and the splashes and the energy beams. They call that VFX. That's rough. That's rough in the ears of someone who studied 3D. Oh look, right now I'm blocking in the shapes for the VFX. No, you're not. No. Oh my god, it's like the I guess it's not exactly the same, but like how in animation ease in and ease out, depending on who you ask, is like opposite. What's the like the Richard Williams, that's his name, right? Animator's Survival Kit, Animator's Guidebook. I even forget what it's called. I think his term is you ease in and out of the keyframes. So ease out is the ease in the beginning of a movement, and ease in is the ease at the end of a movement. But if you open After Effects or find like a tutorial on ease in After Effects, the logic is you ease in and out of the animation, into and out of the animation. So ease in is at the beginning, ease out is at the end. That is a source of horrible discomfort and pain when you are a bit of like a stickler for terms. And I am a bit of a stickler for terminology. I like when I can say a thing and you know what I mean. That's like a cool thing that I enjoy in communication. So when the same word means several different things, that's a bit of a bad time for me. Well, no, when it means several different opposite things, that's a bit of a bad time for me. Words can have several meanings, no problem. But when they're antonyms, that's a bit of a problem for Jacob. All right, here we go. Then there's stuff like flammable, inflammable, both meaning flammable. Genius, ingenious, both meaning genius. That's like fine. I can live with that. But ease in and out meaning the opposite, the exact opposite, depending on who you're talking to. That's crazy. The sevens. We need the sevens. Why does Firelord Ozai never draw anymore? He's all burned out. He's all, aw. Oh, little guy, he's all burned out. Why are drug addicts so good at mark making? Oh, they do lines all the time. Of course. On the one hand, I'm like, I should figure out some new ones. On the other hand, I'm like, well, if I let there enough time pass between each time I bring him up, it's not reusing a joke, it's a callback. And then for new people, it's not even that. It's just like a just like a banger joke. It's like a really good joke. It's like a crazy amazing joke. Random shit on the slot machine. Cool. Anything? He needs the teeth on the shirt. Oh. Cool, cool. It's really nice that Soul Fighter allows you to have those outlines. Because you don't you don't have to be as good at managing contrast. I mean, you should. But worst comes to worst, you can always like you know, differentiate an edge with like a little bit of a black line. Like if this were the image, you can see how the silhouette kind of breaks a little bit or gets lost a little bit. But that's not the image. This is the image. Silhouette is protected by line work. My jam. Okay. Moving on, rant over. We just need to do that little, oh, first background. Grab this background, go here. Oh wait, I have it already. Just gotta unhide it, that's all. Not the brush I wanted. It's more like it. Right, but just this, I have this light pass. You can see over on this guy. We just do that with all of them now, and then we pick one. What's that? That's the effects. Okay. Maybe, is this just done with like a, nope. Okay. Sometimes I would start thumbnails like this by first doing 3-value compositions. It's not, it feels less necessary with well, the type of image that I'm trying to do right now. Because it's very much, well, the big read is dark on light, right? And then I have mid-tones as well. Essentially right now I'm painting the mid-tone value in my 3-value comp. But the read for all of them is kind of this. It's dark character, light background. And a mid-tone on the character. Yeah, so anyway, because the image that I'm trying to do here is so simple, I guess I'm kind of saying that the 3-value composition as like a preparatory stage feels less necessary to me. We'll see. Maybe if the piece has really whack values, this will be why. Yeah. I'll just look out for it when painting. I'll just remember to check the values. Yeah, like, okay, he's supposed to be overall dark on light. And then I have a dark accent, the hat near my focal point. So darkest in the image and lightest in the image almost meet. Don't think it needs to be much more complex than that, to be honest. Maybe we could... Maybe we could add like a rim light. To the bits where he gets close to the effects. Dark on light. Mid-tone, and then areas of like glowing. For the focal points. Cool. That's gonna be you. Oh, right, I messed that up. Whoops. This one is not supposed to come forward in space. It's supposed to come back and go back in space. So it was right that it felt smaller. Great, amazing, cool. Let's hydrate. Let's vary our work posture. Let's keep our backs healthy. I'll lower the table. All right, I was trying to see if you guys were hearing my fan. I don't think it should be too bad right now. I've kind of ended up liking all of the thumbnails, at least a little bit. Which, that's nice, that's good. Ideally, there's not one of them that's like pure trash. Once I had a friend of mine, he had seen like some comments on my, just like an early piece I had done. And he went, oh, well, people seem to like the composition you didn't go with, like that thumbnail better than the one you did go with. And there were like 2 comments, or maybe 3. which was the extent of my engagement. But saying, oh, I really like thumbnail B, and I had chosen D or whatever. Then he was like, that must make you feel bad that people don't like the thumbnail that you finish or whatever. And I just don't think that's the case. I don't think that's like the goal necessarily, is that you pick the thumbnail that absolutely everybody likes the most. The goal is to kind of, if you can, do decent work across the board. So like when somebody likes a thumbnail I did, I'm like, great. Amazing that that one also does something for someone. I picked this other one because I felt it worked better for my goals with the piece. The great thing is, if you ever do, which I do, if you ever do illustration work for a client, the client can go, hey, I liked thumbnail B the best. And then you can go, sure thing, I'll cook that up for you. It's just like an interesting outlook to be like, oh, people liked your work. That must make you feel bad. Because they didn't like the work that you liked the most. Okay, let me think. Where do I want my light? I want... Oh, that could be nice. Okay, so... if we essentially just do like a... straight from the top of the screen light on this one, we get to have his like necklace in a cast shadow. Maybe it needs to be like a little bit from the left. And then if we can have the necklace in a cast shadow, we can do like cool subtle glows in the shadows. That could be a cool moment. Like the tongue is casting a shadow over this necklace. What is going on back here? It's the leg. Okay, like that. So a little bit from the left, otherwise quite directly from above. I'm really glad I didn't just stop at B and D for this one. Because I'm starting to like A more and more. Starting to feel like I might go with that one. It's like this thing where, you know, normally for a client, you'd always do a good amount of options. And then when you're yourself, you can just like go with the first or the second go. But then there's still this effect where, you know, the first draft is quite often the worst draft. And then you kind of figure out, and maybe that's like a novice thing as well, that you kind of figure out how to do the drawing as you're doing the drawing. And so that allows the second draft to be better. And maybe even the third or the fourth draft to be better. Ever since the Malzahar piece, I've had a little bit of beef with the maxim of form shadow soft edge, cast shadow hard edge. There was a point in that piece where I was just showing like a draft to Thomas, who was supervising it, and he just pointed out, because I had something like this going on for a cast shadow. Right? This hard edge. And then one of the notes that Thomas gave me was just written feedback. Soften the cast shadow to make sure it looks like a cast shadow instead of a local color change. Because the edge of a shadow, yes, the edge of a cast shadow is harder than the edge of a form shadow typically. But the edge of a shadow is never like a knife's edge. Or very rarely. There's almost always like a bit of diffusion that happens at the edge. Like the further away the cast shadow is from the object casting the shadow, obviously, the softer it'll be. And so I can't draw a cast shadow anymore without thinking, oh, and some people would say to draw this cast shadow is like completely hard, but it's not going to be, because there's going to be some diffusion of the light source around the edges. There's going to be a penumbra, right? There's going to be a penumbra. Unless you have an impossibly small point light source, of course. Then no penumbra. All right. Moving on. It's still like a good rule of thumb to quickly establish what will quickly read as form and cast shadow. Look, I just used it down here, but you know. Is that kind of it? Is that kind of it? It's a little light. We're going a little too light on the... Where's my soft round brush? On the glow here in the shadows. Otherwise, feels fine. And then, you know, the rim light. That looks bad. Oh, I'm on... No. He's on the wrong layer. Okay. Fine. We take those. We take those. Whatever. Figure it out later. Figure out the proper shapes later. Cool. Probably hit you with just a little bit of light. Tiniest bit of light in here. And then we gotta put the lines back on there. That's on the right layer. Far arm. Far arm. There we go. And then one more left, right? I think we've got one more left before we can move on to the working on one single image part of the process. Yeah. Cool, that looks like that. That could be a cool image, you ask me. And then this final one. Wait, you're not... Wow, okay. I was just missing like flexors on that forearm. Okay. Back to the task at hand. And let's just do the same lighting strat for this one. Tongue cast a shadow over the little necklace. He's missing pants. They're supposed to be dark value. Not that I want to toot my own horn, but it's a pretty nice, smart. Well, it's not my decision though. Never mind. I was like, well, it's quite smart to have the wide brim of the hat so close to the eyes of the character, because then you get like an accent of a dark value right near the underside of the hat brim, right near the eyes of the character. But it was kind of written in the stars because Tom Kench has a hat. I guess the brim of my hat is maybe a bit wider, so the shape is like a little bit bigger, but it's kind of it would have been the same statement overall. Anyway, turns out I wasn't tooting my own horn. I was complimenting Riot character design team. All right. Kinda seems good to me. These chain links. And then we'll do that same adjustment that we did on the other one, where these teeth, this necklace, shouldn't be glowing that much in the dark. Just a little bit. It's just about finding the balance. Alright, well let's look at them, shall we? Apply, light, finish, C. I did that. And then, right. I kind of wanted to have some jumping effects. In this one. Like, look how fast he is. Coming off the foot, maybe, primarily. It's just to fill the space as well. Alright. These are my thumbnails. To be fair, I should punch them all a little bit with some lines. Like I did for A. Oh, it's such an easy thing to do. Okay. Because like right now, A looks so much better because it has these Soul Fighter like lines around points of interest. Because it's such like a nice cheap way to get a bunch of appealing contrast and shapes. I mean, also just so that the thumbnails look good in the fucking ArtStation post. I guess it's a good argument to put them in here. I don't have to do it with this one though. I could just like do an ink pen. No need to trace every line twice. I'm just doing it like for the focal point. Just so that it feels like a more fair comparison. Like this is B with and without that change. You can just tell how much punchier it gets, right? Yeah, none of them have that. This is an instance of you technically don't need this to evaluate the thumbnail. But since I did it on the one thumbnail to make them look better as a set, I'm just putting in this extra 10 minutes of work. Sort of shine them up a little bit. Because part of the game with thumbnails is put in all your ideas and then finish them to a degree, or like refine them to a degree where you can evaluate the ideas. You or a client can evaluate the ideas. And I would say we had already done that, but now it'll be that and it'll look a little bit better. A little bit cooler, a little bit more contrasty. Cool. Wait, is this... Yeah, I'm still on the... Damn. On the wrong layer. Psych, that's the wrong layer. Watch me get 1 million views on TikTok with that joke tomorrow. It's crazy. It's crazy how like small artist humor has become like actually marketable and profitable. Like if you just make like 20 videos on TikTok being like, oh, me when I draw on the wrong layer, me when I don't trust in the process, but then I do trust in the process and it turns out good. Me when I forget to flip the canvas. Just do like 20 of those. You don't even have to like say anything. Those will go crazy. Those will go crazy on TikTok. Me when I don't follow the process I know works and instead I wing the process as I go along. And then it's like a bad, poorly drawn piece, like clearly poorly drawn piece. And the sound where like someone's like running around panicked. Man, I'm too much on that app. I'm not a lot on that app, but I'm too much on that app. And this is how much I'm on TikTok, is I'll open the app, I'll see whatever is on as I open the app, and then I'll do my post. That's how much I'm on there. And still, it's got enough hooks in me that I know what the content is. I'm also capping a little bit because sometimes I'll like go and like respond to comments And when I do that, every time I go and respond to comments, it's the same thing. I'll open the app. There will be one TikTok on. I will notice what that one's about, and then I'll go respond to comments. That's the crazy thing as well. I was talking to my roommate the other day about how TikTok sees the content creators on TikTok as its clients as much as the consumers. Like, the content creators are not partners, they're clients. Part of the product is for those content creators. And like buying traffic and ads and privileges to be able to stream because you need like a certain amount of followers. And okay, now I feel like these are like done enough that we can pick one. If you feel strongly about a favorite, this would be the time to voice the opinion. Although, that's me. Look at me. Listen to me. This would be the time to voice the opinion, but I can't promise that it'll impact my decision too much. Just zoom out a little bit. Okay, you know what? I think this composition could be quite a lot better. If we just scale that arm up a bit. I just read the thumbnail from afar, and it kind of looked like the background here was the arm, and that kind of looked better than whatever I was doing. So I'll just adjust the thumbnail to make that the case. So the arm actually takes up the space that that bar in the background would have. And like so, like that. Doesn't that feel better? And that, I think it does. That's a little funky. Feels a little bit more epic. I also think I can just like afford to stretch the arm more still. Yeah, that's cool. I like the shapes in here. I think this is a fun image. Maybe it's even like good. Maybe that's good actually. Where am I working? Where is this file? It shouldn't be there. Maybe it should. Okay. Yeah. I'm switching cloud services right now. And it's a little bit tricky. I'm fighting the file transfer a little bit. Just because I have a lot of stuff that's not locally on the device, it's in the cloud, and then to transfer that to the other cloud service that I'm gonna be using, I need to have that downloaded, and then I need to have them both either hooked up, like both the cloud services either hooked up and actively syncing my files, or not at specific times, and I haven't done a transfer like this before. It's a little bit messy. I'll figure it out though. It's more of like a bother or a hassle than anything. That shouldn't be on this layer. You guys, the effects should be on this other layer, please. Nope. Yeah. But that's what I wanted. Didn't gain a lot of space there. Still probably worth it. Gets a little tangenty with the barbel here. I've only seen it written now. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm gonna do a Google of myself at some point. A Google of my own at some point. The only problem I have with this one is whether or not he's filling up the image well enough. I think he is. And then we'll just add some effects and shit. It's gonna be fine. It's like, I need something. I want something to happen here and something to happen here. But it can just be like clouds. I don't think it's I think it can just be like clouds. Yeah. I think we're gonna be just fine. And that's my biggest concern with this one. Okay, I'm gonna look at him. I'm gonna. It's not C. C is not a splash pose. It's not clear enough. I guess we could sort of like boost it a little bit, maybe. I wonder if that's gonna work. Pulling that arm out into silhouette. I don't know that that works. I think what we'll do is we'll just like excuse our way out of it with some line thickness, so the overlap is really clear, and then it's maybe like fine as like an option in the thumbnails. D is fun. I think D could work. B is fine, but the more I look at it, the more the shapes feel a little bit awkward. And I don't think the face is sold as well as in A and D. We're definitely going with either A or D. If nothing else, I like both fine. If nothing else, D really looks like a punch. D really looks like a punch. And A here is a little better at selling the tongue attack. It's still not like amazing at it. But it is a little better at selling that that's what's going on. And for that, it's probably worth it to go with that. Hands feeling a little bit awkward. Maybe it was better when this finger was more rotated. Could also go full into like overlap. That feels more like a more natural gesture. Oh, whoops. I wanted to do that, then paste these, then group those, group. These? Yes. Oh, the effects. Cool. So it's this, or it's that. I want to do the little silhouette test. Because what I kind of suspected is I'm doing this. I was doing this because I'm like, well, maybe that feels like a more clear silhouette. Trouble is, 3 fingers for a hand almost doesn't feel very hand-like. But it probably does feel better, huh? That's like a good question. Because we have such dramatic shapes, this still feels very clear to me. Even though the silhouette isn't as clear. And it feels more dimensional. I wonder what a more experienced artist would do. Because I'm kind of leaning this way, even though... Even though the silhouette is a little unclear, I like the clean, clear sense of overlap and space we get here. Just zoom out like crazy, zoom out a million. I had this at one point. That feels clear to me. Why don't why don't I do that? The idea is to see more like the inside of this finger. At this point, I'm pretty sure I'm going with this thumbnail. That's why I'm working so much on it. I feel like that's at least a better version than the other one I had, or the first one I had. Now the question becomes, is it is it this Or is it that? Is it the clean but maybe somewhat flat, separated out silhouette? Or the more unclear but more emphasizing depth? I feel like when in doubt, prioritize a clear silhouette, right? Yeah. And then I can always learn later if that's like the less appealing choice. Can always get smart and improve later. But we'll be going with this. Cool. Cool. Oh wow, there's an export threshold now. We have reached a point in the process where an export is in order. Soul Fighter. Let's just do Tom Kench thumbnails. Tom Kench thumbnails. Cool. And then B shows his outfit real good, and C looks so dynamic and fun. Sure. No, I appreciate the feedback, Pimp Master. B shows his outfit real good. I think A does that to almost the same extent, no? I mean, it's probably gonna have more, no. It's so fair, it's so fair. I'm pretty sure I'm going with A. I'm just trying to, always like a teachable moment when someone else has a different preference. And then C looks so dynamic and fun. This I totally agree with. I totally agree with C. No, wait, C looks so dynamic and fun. Whoa, you like C? That's crazy. Well, it's not crazy, it's totally fair. C is like my least favorite. Yeah, so I like A, and I will go with A. And the reason for this is it shows the outfit well. I'd say it's like the same degree as B, especially like when I paint it up nice and proper. It is dynamic. I've got quite dynamic foreshortening going on. The gesture, although I'll also improve it as I move on, is nice, if you ask me. And then it has like the head-on splash. That's a great choice indeed. Yeah. I do want to see if I can't find like League loading screen, and then just give me 2025. I want to find the crop, essentially, and check out the crop for all the damn, what does it actually look like? Something like this. I just want to see how the crop looks on all of the thumbnails. I was just talking earlier today about how it's great when other people like thumbnails that you don't actually, and it's not a bad thing actually, because, well, you did work that someone resonates with. That's what we're here for. That's the challenge. Then if they prefer a different one than you do, sick. You can also do art that other people like. That's props or gains or whatever. Totes my goats is the name of the random whatever summoner that from whom I just stole their loading screen. Again, were I doing a splash, this would be like an important consideration. Is like, how does this crop look? It's like fine. That might be the weakness of this one. Let's look at the others. Well, in this one you have you clearly have the design in the crop. D is really throwing on this one. I don't know, it's fine. It's actually fine. Yeah. I think you'd have to like crop it like there. You get the casino chain, you get some of the rings, get the hat. I have one of the rings look like a roulette. I might change it so that it's the one on his left, just so I get it in the crop. We'll see. Or maybe I don't care that much about the the loading screen crop. Cool. Okay, yeah, but we're done. Let me move on here. Let me keep the effects on a separate layer. And then try to keep working on one layer. Because I've been told that's the way. Alright, then we do the Great Purge. I have a lot of layers in this document that we're not going to use anymore. Boom. Sick. Now we're going to be looking at this for a while. Yeah. The idea is to push it quite far in the value stage and then apply the colors over the values. Wait, hold the phone. Is he like pulled too wide? That's crazy. What happens if I do it again? Okay, that seems too much. That seems like he's squished. This is wild. This is a mistake I made with the Malzahar Splash 2. Is he was just kind of too wide for some reason. Aspect ratio of the guy. I had just somehow painted him wide. Okay. At least I caught it early this time. And so now this is wild. I've never. This is the process that I'm looking at. The Chingwei Pan piece. And well, he just started in shape like this, no lines. And then he just paints the values and he just paints the values until all the values are kind of there. And then he goes and selects out the different materials and applies color to them. Apparently this is still on one layer, which is like for the guy, one layer for the guy, one layer for the girl. Feels crazy to me. Because the edges look clean. All the edges of the materials look clean. Maybe just selection masks, who knows? Anyway, the idea is just to paint values for a good long time now. I'll just really quickly slap the thumbnails in my reference document. League fan skins, there we go. Thumbnails, there we go. And then we just kind of go, okay. This somehow feels so cursed, so wild to me to just paint like this, all in value, all on the same layer. Feels so wrong somehow. Found values to be really useful for your studying? Yeah, no, for sure. Oh, but you're saying like painting like this, just in values, just like value rendering. Yeah, okay, yeah. I've never really done that a lot. Maybe that's why I suck at rendering. Maybe I'd unlock so much hidden knowledge. Terrible at rendering, so it helps to practice with value. Well, no, yeah, it's less tasks at a time. You don't have to think about color as well. And that's why it's like an industry-wide practice. It's because it's easier for well, I guess anyone, but say a junior, to paint just the values and not get those wrong, than it is to have them start in color and not get the colors wrong. Sometimes you desaturate the whole canvas just to check your values. Yeah. Okay, so, well, that's a common thing. I will, sometimes I do this maybe like once every minute when I paint, where you have like a grayscale layer on top and then set it to saturation and you just flick it on and off. It's quite a common thing to do. But painting exclusive, I'll do that while painting in color, then I'll check my values and then I'll move on. But this approach of like painting the image and all the value movements in value rather than color and then infusing values afterwards, that's what I don't do a lot. That's what's like a new that's what's new about the process for this piece. Don't like the shape of that tooth. Don't like the shape of any of these teeth. And I always thought that, you know, like the big dogs, they just went straight to color. Because they can. Because they know how to. But then, yes, I recently learned that this, from this Cheng Wei Pan piece, and a loose stroke told me, yeah, that Cheng Wei does value first and then moves to color, just because like it's a more practical process. And he's a big dog, so now I'm trying it. Does it feel useful? Well, I'll tell you what it's definitely useful for, is not getting overwhelmed with a million revisions in a million different areas. Like if I hand this in to a client, well, not now, but when all the value rendering is done, they can only really tell me to change the values. But if I hand in something that's colored and they don't like it, I can be handed a way bigger assignment, right? I would have to maybe change the values and the colors in one sort of round of revisions, and that's just a lot more work. To reiterate, just so that I'm making myself clear, doing the value thumbnails first is not a new thing for me, but it's this step that we're beginning now, where I'm rendering out in values. That's new. Value thumbnails is like a very foundational part of my process, that makes sure that, you know, I know what I'm doing when it comes to values. Values are typically more important than color in terms of making your image work. But rendering out like this, like doing all these little subtle form changes in value instead of just moving to color, that's new. And we'll see if that's useful. Yeah, but definitely when doing work for clients, you wanna, because the thumbnailing stage is also like figuring out just like what's in the image. It's figuring out where does it go in the image, and ideally, you just do the work required to figure that out, and then no more. And color is not required to figure out what's in the image or where it goes. Really gotta be over these shapes here in the beginning. And then the other, I guess, bigger thing with this image is also I'm trying to do as much as absolutely possible just on one layer. And that's a new workflow thing for me too. Oh wait, no. No. The scar will be on top of this form. Not cut through it. That makes less sense to me. Trying to make his skin feel more shiny. And reflective. Something like that. Oh no, now I have to I have to actually be tight with the shapes I put in. Because shapes I put in at this point could be final. Edges I put in at this point could be final. I gotta find some topics to talk about when I'm rendering. This is like prime banter time. I have no banter. I was like literally in my head going like, what else is new? What else is going on? I flashed my first 7A plus boulder, but I think I've already said that on stream. Try not to reuse topics. Metal light is coming from front top left. That's like, you'll get a bit of a highlight moment. You'll get a bit of a highlight moment. Yeah. So edges are important right now, shapes are important right now. The actual values that I put down can be pushed and pulled with like adjustment layers or with secondary passes. But to the best of my ability right now, I'd like to try and keep edges and shapes pretty tight. Because, like, yes, there's a real chance that edges and shapes I put down now are gonna go in the final. Also, because, you know, I'm trying to not make this like a forever project. Why are you doing a splash then, Jacob? Well, you see, something with the tachyons again. Neutrinos, Mercury's in centigrade. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's you do a piece of League of Legends fan design work, and step one, be me, be an illustrator, do a piece of League of Legends fan art design. It's just kind of right there, right? Just like mock up a splash. That could be, it's gonna be cool. But then yes, at the same time, I really like to have shorter projects. I also wanted to try out this new workflow. I have copes. I have copes aplenty. I wanted to try the value to color. I wanted to try the one layer workflow. And this was a great opportunity for that, right? The hat. Oh, the hat. What about the hat? Well, I have to paint it behind the sevens that I just laid in and polished the shapes of. And this is like a velvety band, so it's gonna be shiny. Probably a bit darker though. Maybe not. Maybe this one layer approach will actually counterintuitively teach me good value separation, because you can't really, all my selections right now, or the way that I'm keeping my edges clean, is through selections, like value-based selections. So if I don't keep my value separation strong, I can't actually select the parts of the image that I want to. Maybe he's onto something. People have been asking me a lot, what does "pass the Heinz" mean? And I finally found the source for it. I listened to this improv riddle podcast called Hey Riddle Riddle. And well, I knew that it was from there. It's or that I had it from there. JPC says it at some point. And he says when he does, he name drops the person he has it from. And I found the clip. I found the video. Well, I found the podcast where he gives that advice. And the name of the improv teacher is, drumroll, Sharna Halpern. Sharna Halpern taught JPC to pass the Heinz, not the ketchup. That specificity kills ambiguity. And now you know that same thing. Isn't that crazy? Now you'll do gradually better improv, marginally better improv than if I hadn't told you. Provided you ever go and do any improv. It's so crazy to me because, you know, normally this brushstroke that I just made, the color of it would be so influenced by whatever the color of my light source is. But there's no color of my light source yet, so I'm gonna have to do all of that manually afterwards. You're still oh yeah. Oh, no worries. I end in 2 minutes. Did you have a good stream? Nice. Happy to hear. Yeah, I was so ready to when I first learned you streamed, and I was like, well, yeah, I'll join sometime. And then immediately I realized that's, well, I'm on for that entire duration, every Wednesday. Oh well. What did you do on stream? This is a good streaming hour. Yeah, it's probably a good time. It's probably a good time. Please let me have these forms. Please let these forms work. Working through the development of an image idea. Scratch sculpting characters so they can be rigged, that type of thing. Aliens versus the Goonies. Sounds cool, man. I guilty admission. I've never seen the Goonies. It's one of those things where there's so many like nods to it in pop culture, and it's just like a name that people know and drop and stuff. Never checked it out. Oh man, that's 11:01. I need to be going to bed. And I won't go very much over time because sleep is important. Thanks for hanging out and joining, everyone who saw the stream. We picked a thumbnail today. Great progress. Great progress. We did the rest of these guys. Picked A, and now we're doing some value rendering. This will continue tomorrow. Hope to see you then.